For 30 years, this church leader tucked his children into bed, kissed his wife goodnight, then went to his basement to relive torturing entire families. Dennis Rader wasn't just BTK bind, torture, kill. He was also a Boy Scout leader, compliance officer, and pillar of his community. Tonight, we're re-exposing the most terrifying double life in criminal history. A killer so perfectly disguised that he investigated his own crimes as a city official. But first, I need you to try this unsettling experiment. Next time you're at a restaurant, mirror your server's exact body language. When they lean in, you lean in. When they cross their arms, you cross yours. Do this subtly throughout your interaction. They'll unconsciously trust you more and give you better service. It's called the chameleon effect, but here's what's disturbing. This is exactly how predators like BTK blend into society. They become human mirrors, reflecting what people want to see. Welcome back to Dark Case Files, where we decode the psychology of evil. Dennis Rader was born March 9, 1945, in Pittsburgh, Kansas. Unlike other serial killers, his childhood wasn't filled with obvious red flags. He had loving parents, did well in school, and seemed destined for a normal life. He served in the Air Force, married his college sweetheart Paula in 1971, and had 2 children who adored him. But behind this Norman Rockwell facade, something sinister was growing. Rader later revealed that violent fantasies consumed him from childhood. He would torture animals, hang himself for sexual gratification, and obsess over binding and controlling others. The terrifying truth: he was learning to hide these urges perfectly. By day, he was Dennis, the devoted father, Dennis, the helpful neighbor, Dennis, the reliable employee. By night, he was planning the systematic destruction of innocent families. What makes BTK so chilling is not just what he did. It's how successfully he convinced everyone he was exactly like them. Here's a psychological trick that reveals hidden aggression. Watch how people handle small frustrations. Do they slam doors a little too hard? Grip their steering wheel with white knuckles? These micro-expressions reveal someone's true nature when they think no one's watching. Keep this in mind as we dive deeper into BTK's mask. January 15, 1974, Rader chose his first victims with calculated precision. The Otero family, Joseph, Julie, and their children, 11-year-old Josephine and 9-year-old Joseph Jr. Rader, had been watching them, learning their routines, planning their destruction. He cut their phone lines, entered through the back door, and told the family he was a wanted fugitive who just needed food and a car. But that was a lie. He had come to fulfill his darkest fantasies. One by one, he bound each family member. Joseph Sr. died first, strangled with a cord. Julie was next, then young Joseph Jr. But Josephine, Rader saved her for last. He hung the 11-year-old girl in the basement, taking photographs of her final moments. This wasn't a crime of passion or desperation. This was a carefully orchestrated nightmare designed to satisfy his twisted needs. For innocent lives destroyed, and BTK felt nothing. No guilt, no remorse, just satisfaction and the hunger for more. Comment evil if you think some people are born without souls, or made if you think society creates monsters like this. Most killers try to avoid attention. BTK craved it. In October 1974, he sent his first letter to the Wichita Eagle newspaper. He didn't just confess to the Otero murders, he corrected the media's coverage, complained about lack of recognition, and coined his own nickname, BTK bind, torture, kill. This wasn't just ego, it was psychological warfare against an entire city. Rader wanted Wichita to know a predator was among them, watching, waiting, choosing his next victims. He turned murder into a twisted game where he controlled every move. Try this disturbing social experiment. Next time you're in a group conversation, pick one person and make eye contact with them. Every time you laugh or smile, they'll unconsciously feel special and connected to you, even though you're manipulating them. This is how narcissistic predators create false intimacy. Between 1974 and 1991, BTK struck 10 times, but his kills weren't random sprees. They were carefully planned productions. Each murder was designed to fulfill specific fantasies he'd been nurturing for months or years. April 1974, Catherine Bright, 21, survived BTK's attack and provided the first eyewitness description, but her brother Kevin wasn't as lucky. March 1977, Shirley Vianne, strangled while her children were locked in the bathroom, forced to listen to their mother, died. December 1977, Nancy Fox, whose murder BTK reported to police himself, walking them through what he'd done to her. But here's what made BTK uniquely terrifying. Between murders, he lived a completely normal life. He attended parent-teacher conferences, coached Little League, served as a church deacon. His own children had no idea their loving father was the monster haunting their city's nightmares. The psychological compartmentalization was perfect. Dennis Rader, the family man, existed in one mental box. BTK, the killer, existed in another, and somehow he kept those boxes sealed for decades. In 1991, BTK went silent. For 13 years, Wichita wondered if their nightmare was finally over. But Rader hadn't stopped. He'd just gotten better at hiding. he became a compliance officer for Park City, Kansas, citing residents for minor violations like overgrown grass and unleashed dogs. The irony is sickening. By day, he enforced community standards and safety regulations. Citizens trusted him to protect their quality of life. What they didn't know was that BTK was literally policing his own hunting ground. Using his authority to scope out potential victims and case their homes legally, he had the perfect cover. A city official with legitimate reasons to approach houses, take notes, and observe family routines. If BTK had stayed quiet, he might never have been caught. But his ego couldn't resist the spotlight. In 2004, BTK broke his silence. The 30th anniversary of his first murders had arrived, and he felt forgotten. He sent new letters, evidence from old crime scenes, and dolls posed to recreate his victims' final moments. He was desperate for recognition, for the world to remember his work, but technology had evolved during his 13-year silence. When BTK sent a floppy disk asking if it could be traced, police lied and said no. The disk's metadata led them to Christ's Lutheran Church, where Dennis Rader served as congregation president. DNA evidence from his daughter's medical records sealed his fate. On February 25, 2005, the family man, church leader and compliance officer was arrested as BTK. During his confession, Rader showed no emotion describing his victim's terror. He spoke like a businessman presenting quarterly reports. 10 families destroyed, decades of fear, countless lives changed forever, and he felt BTK is serving 10 consecutive life sentences with no possibility of parole. But here's what haunts me most. How many other Dennis Raders are out there right now? How many compliance officers, church leaders, and Little League coaches are hiding monsters behind their smiles? Drop an eyes emoji if the idea of killers in positions of authority terrifies you. Comment watching if you're now suspicious of the helpful authority figures in your life, and smash that subscribe button. The Dark Case Files community is the only place brave enough to confront these truths. Next week, we're rediving into the Golden State Killer, a cop who used his badge to terrorize California for decades. You'll never feel safe around law enforcement again. Until then, remember, the person checking on your safety might be the one you need protection from. Trust no one completely. Question everything. The monster next door has learned to speak your language.